Hello, my peeps. Yep, that was me running my glass cleaner over top of the camera. It looked a little fuzzy when I first did it, but after all the manhandling to get it back in where it was supposed to be, totally possible it had like palm prints or something on it. Hello, everybody. 15th of July, Tuesdays with Tracey. I'd be Tracey, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and your neighborhood paper pusher. Friendly neighborhood paper pusher. So yeah, I came in here to get my last few minute like little things done, and I totally forgot that I had disconnected everything last week to do my virtual retired product sale. Thank you guys very much. It was awesome. I've got all the stuff ready to go. Everything's in little bags and boxes and ready to ship or deliver or whatever, just waiting for the new orders to come in, which all were ordered on Friday. I think one got ordered on Saturday. And they shipped this morning. And if UPS is correct, oh, darn it, it's been thank you guys very much. It was awesome. Well, there you go. I've got all the stuff ready to go. Everything's in little bags and boxes and ready to ship or deliver or whatever, just waiting for the new orders to come in, which all now you know what the lag time on my computer is. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I forgot to turn the volume off. So yeah, the UPS was all fouled up for the last week of June and into July. Something got all screwed up. The orders got delayed and the shipping things weren't being updated and things were, I don't know, stuff was happening. But that's all reconciled. I got the orders that I had made on the 1st of July came in last night. So as soon as I'm done this live, my son will actually be going and delivering them just in town. It was just in town people. So not just in town people, but if you live in Morinville, you get your stuff dropped on your front porch. But he can't leave while I'm doing it live because as soon as he leaves the house, the dog will wail like the world's coming to an end. Because, oh my God, his precious boy left the house. So in order to keep that noise down. But anyways, those did come in and those will be going out. But the ones that I ordered on Friday, UPS has updated this morning. They updated the shipping. And it says they'll be here this Friday. So woo, woo. It's a full week this week, which I'll explain in a minute. So yeah, I think I posted yesterday. I haven't figured out yet what the mechanism is to give like little posts and little updates to people on YouTube, because I do all my lives on YouTube. I do my videos, everything. YouTube is my preference, but I need to be able to get like little messages, and I do a newsletter and I can have bulletins, but the little, hey, guess what? I haven't quite 100% figured that out. I'm working on it. It's evolving all the time. The other thing that's evolving is as I try different things, I see if there's like good response, any response, bad response. Nobody's ever bad response to anything. Sometimes I just don't get a lot of interaction. And the trick is, now that I've retired from my government career, I do this full time, so I can make things whenever. But I realize a lot of people work during the day, so try to accommodate that, but then some people don't, but then some people have shifts. And so I've given up on the trying to make everybody work for everybody, because I don't think it ever will. I'm just going to offer things and hope that it works and people can give me feedback and we'll go from there. More recently, though, I've noticed that Tuesday is not a good day to do a live, because things keep coming up on Tuesdays that not that I'd rather be doing, but I could only do on a Tuesday, whereas this I could do whatever. So I've decided that since nobody, it didn't really make a difference going Tuesday from night to afternoon. I'm going to switch to Wednesdays, but there's a rhyme and reason to this. I was trying a couple things. I was doing my newsletter on a Monday, because that way once a month on the Tuesday, all the new stuff releases, right? So I do an order in that. So I can go time travel over to the land of Oz, look on her site and get like sneak peek information on the kits that are going to release on the Tuesday. Because I order midnight Tuesday, or first like midnight 01 Tuesday, or first thing Tuesday morning, because that's when the new kits release, when it's either a pre-order or an order goes live for a catalog or online exclusives or something. So I'm always ordering on the first Tuesday of the month, but I don't get a lot of people ordering the kits as early anyways. And I can always just get the kit stuff and just do a quick bulletin by email, and everybody sees it, or post it on Facebook, and everybody that wants to can see it there. And if you want to join the order, you can. So demos get updated Tuesday. So I'm going to switch my newsletter back to Tuesday, so that if there's new information, I can have it updated for there. I did read the ones this morning and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then now I forgot what it was. But I'm doing the newsletter after I'm done this because I was doing other things. I was trimming my strawberries this morning and or my tomatoes, I mean, and the whole time the corner of my eye, all I could see is my strawberry plants look like this. They are full of flowers. I'm going to have such a good strawberry crop this year. And my one tomato plant is quite prolific, whereas my little cherry tomato, my little baby tomatoes, it is a big bushy plant, which it's next to be trimmed. It's actually, I think, 3 plants in one pot because I don't see very many tomatoes on it yet. I see a lot of flowers, but I don't see any tomatoes yet. So I might have to trim some of the bottoms and pinch the crotches, as my mom tells me, because that's what her mom told her. The little things that grow in between the branches, pinch the crotches. Yeah. So, anyways, back to the schedule. So this week is a little different because we have other stuff going on. Just a minute. Let me just get my Zoom that my IT department set up for me. There we go. So you can read. So basically what I'm going to do going forward is I'm going to do a schedule on Monday, which will be like, so I'll post this schedule and a little funny. I'm not actually sure. I just realized my face is not there. Not that I love being on camera or anything, but you know, I'm willing to do it for you guys. So here I am. There we go. I don't know why it disappeared on that view. Okay. So I'm going to post on Monday this and the posts that get the most like interaction and you guys seem to appreciate the most are the funny memes and funnies that I post. And I have a lot of them. I love them. I have a lot of them. So that's Monday. You get a schedule and it's going to tell you what's coming up. Now I usually do pick a picture here that has something to do with either what I was thinking at the time or what's coming up in the week, or in this case, it was all I could think about was strawberries this morning. So some little picture. So you always know if it's a new one because I change this picture every week. I don't change me because I haven't figured out. I did it once and I can't figure out how to change it now because I got to change the hair color. The hair color is no longer accurate. But when I did this a couple of years ago, I was still coloring my hair. So it was. But anyways, this picture changes every week. So then this tells you Tuesdays with Tracey is live. I'll have to come up with a new name. And this time I don't think I'll put the date in it because I've tried a few different days. It'll just be whatever I call my live. I like fun names, so I'll come up with something. But you can see here, there's a little Facebook Live icon and there's a time frame. My newsletter, little envelope shows you it comes by email. That's not the best way, but that is the icon for email, even though that looks more like I'm mailing it, but that's the email icon. Anyways, I wrote email, that should be good. So this week is the virtual album retreat. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So for the next 3 days, I'm making scrapbooking pages. It's from 2 to 10:30. It's got all sorts of, we're making 12 double page layouts, one for each month. So you can have a big album. I haven't really scrapbooked before and I don't really intend to scrapbook going forward, but I do want to learn about it. Maybe I will change my mind. But I love 12 by 12 wall art, and I love the idea of making a calendar where each month is a big 12 by 12 picture, and every month you change it, and whether you add pictures to it or not, there's just so many things you can do. Love it. I think that's what the scrapbooking and all these kits are going to work for me. But I'm going to learn all these tricks because there's flip flaps and there's all these expert scrapbookers have tricks. So in August, I'm going to have my first Friday night, just kind of play date, come and play kind of thing. Which is just to try to get you into stamping. I was doing it. I've done it in a couple places. Last time I did it was in at Foxhole using kits, and I'm still going to use kits. August, I'm going to use the scrapbooking kit, and we're going to make a 2-page spread out layout. I combined those two things. I'll be posting that soon with the events. I didn't have it ready yet. And I'm just going to try that at my house, and it's just sort of for regular customers, you want to come play, try out a new kit, just have an easy night out, couple hours. It has to be 2 hours max because my son is going to take said dog out of the house for those 2 hours because the dog is not good with people coming over. He loves people coming over. He's a pain in the butt when people come over because he just wants to play and jump and do it. So there's no way you can have any peace or any food or any drink because he's just too much. He's so excited you're here. So he'll go for 2 hours. So it'll just be a short little Friday night 2-hour thing. August just happens to be scrapbooks with scrapbooking kits. Some of the other new kits we'll use, who knows, it might be a technique. It could be anything. So we'll do some of that. So I'm learning a whole bunch of new things so I can show you things that I learned. Normally, I'm going to do my live on a Wednesday starting next week, and we'll do something. And then, so Tuesdays is more going to be the updates. I'm not going to have a whole bunch of, hey, all the business stuff anymore. I'm just going to do a video. So it could be half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. Who knows how long the live will last, but it'll be a project. Thursday, I'm going to try to get back into blogging, but Thursday, I will post the pictures, any dimensions, anything like that, ideally in a blog, but we'll see how that goes because I got to make the technology work again. And then Friday, instead of doing Mission Monday anymore, because Mission Monday is not really picking up. And I'll show you when I show you how Mission Monday went for last week, you'll see why I didn't do one this week. I had so much fun and I made so much stuff, but did it go anywhere? Like, no. So instead, I'm just going to post on Friday, show and tell. Here's the things I made. And then you guys can post what you made. And honestly, I don't even care. There we go. If it's, ideally it's paper crafting and then people can do it, but it doesn't have to be. I might give you a recipe for salsa because maybe I made salsa that week, or I might show you some other little crafty thing because I've been trying other little crafty things. I still have my wood thing that I made in Canmore with my bestie there. It's in my office here. I love it. Love it. I love to play and craft. I've been a lifelong crafter, so who knows what I might show you. But I also make cards, treats, something every week. Like most days I do something. So Friday I'm just going to have show and tell. Sometimes it'll be a video. Sometimes it'll just be a bunch of pictures. I usually will post things on Facebook, even if I just say, hey, this is now on Pinterest, or hey, this is now a video, or you might get a little icon there for that too. So these little icons are supposed to help you know where to look for things. So next Monday, when you see the schedule, you'll see that I've switched things around a little bit, but I just try to make it better. And I'm trying to make it work for me and my schedule, partially because it's summer and I want to have a nice time. And, I don't ever want my business to be like work because I did that for 30 some years. I'm good. This is just fun. So I got to keep it fun, but I got to keep giving you guys fun too. So you guys, if there's anything you want, you just have to tell me. I'm like, I go with the flow, man, but you got to tell me where you want the flow to go. Oh, I did say that without screwing that up. Okay. I will show you this time just because I haven't actually done the newsletter yet. And it's so pretty. The new paper pumpkin. I should have my July paper pumpkin. I'm zoomed in too much now. I should have my July paper pumpkin by Friday as well. So that'll be fun. Oh, that's the other thing. Sometimes with the kits, because I'm going to try to keep my like Wednesday live of like showing you a project or a technique or a something. So sometimes the show and tell might just be the kit. Like that might be the video where I put together the kits. Who knows? I'm just going to wing it, but because I get lots of kits coming in, but every time I do the kit thing, there's no real blog or anything afterwards. It's a couple pictures and, so I'm trying to like mix it up. So the show and tell will likely be the kits. I have 2 new ones today, which I may or may not get to. We'll see if we might put one of them together today. Anyways, this Friday, I should get the July one, which is strawberries. I totally forgot what it's called. It's got something to do with strawberries, which is perfectly on theme for me because I'm so loving my strawberries. Anyways, the next one is for August because we, after the 10th, it switches to the next one. It's called Farmhouse Florals. This is just a photograph they use for promotion, but one of the cards actually does have a typewriter with some flowers in behind, and it's got like the little sentiment labels look like the paper that goes in there, and then there's some 3D things you can do. Absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable. The other thing, and I'm going to do this quick because I don't actually think I'm allowed to show you, but I'm going to show you anyways. You notice here it says August comes with a free additional stamp set. So demos it's great being a demo. There's all sorts of perks. We get to see sneak peeks of stuff. This is how I know. And I actually saw the card, like some of the card bases, I think too, but I don't, other than the one with the typewriter, I don't actually remember anything. But sometimes we get to see the stamp sets. So I got to see the stamp sets. I took a screenshot of it. So it's not the best picture. And it's also, like I said, I don't even know if I'm allowed to show you, but you get 2 stamp sets. Ta-da! So I think this is the one that comes with the kit. And then this is the bonus one. So there's a little teapot and some flowers. There is a ton of sentiments. I love the font on this one. And then some bigger ones that all fit in this teapot. It's going to be an awesome kit. So I'm telling you, because when I post this picture in my newsletter, I'm not posting the other one because I don't know if I'm supposed to. Anyhow, so, so I will post the August kit, the class thing, but I'm going to show you real quick a couple other ones too. This is because this goes with the thing. We only have 5 seats left for Christmas Extravaganza. For the in-person one, 5 seats, which is awesome. And at the end of the month, we will actually see the holiday catalog and like know the product and everything. So I love that you guys enjoy these events. It is one of the best days of the year thoroughly love it. We have the best group of people, and some have been coming back, coming back, coming back. This is either our 5th or 6th event that we've done. I can't remember now, 6, I think. And most of you guys, we're almost sold out, and we haven't even told you what we're doing yet. So love it. That's a good sales pitch for how much fun these days are. Okay, so before that though, beginning of September is Holiday Head Start. So we make a few Christmas cards, and I have whatever I've ordered from the Christmas catalog and the online exclusives that are Christmas related or fall related. It could be the Thanksgiving, Halloween, and then there's lots of Christmas. Plus I borrow from my bestie anything she ordered that I didn't, so I can have as much as possible to show you guys. And I have the whole schedule confirmed. I have the dates right now, but I'm just waiting for a little product. So there's going to be some excellent kits coming out. So some of those might just be kit together. So by then I should have a much better idea on like product stuff. So I show you all of that. So I tell you the dates so you can get all set up. This is a lot of fun. Now, this is the product line that we're using. When it first came out, I was like, oh, I like this. So I made 4 cards, and these were going to be the cards for the class. And I love them. They're very nice. I'm trying not to dip my cards in my watercolor, which is on my desk for a reason. So these are the 4 cards, right? Love these cards. I don't know why everything is. Just a minute here. Can I do this without screwing everything up? Oh, look at me go. There we go. I tell you, when we put this camera back on, I got my son to help me with it in my IT department. And it was the 87-point turn to get everything back and kind of lined up and go in the right direction. And oh, it was a lot. Anyways, 4 cards. And this is just an idea because there's 3 different kinds of foil and there's different sentiments you can use. And then we use this same set for Creativity Now, which is a demo event. And we made these cards and a little treat box. And these are awesome too. And then the other day, I made this card. And this is my absolute favorite of all of the cards I've made with this week, is this one right here, which was the last one I made. So now I'm not 100% sure which cards we're going to make. I might just prep a whole bunch of stuff and show you, have all these samples ready, and you can just make whatever you want. But we're basically going to make 4 cards. I try to keep them simple so that you have time to make the cards, plus time to look at all the other stuff and time to talk about Christmas. And usually we haven't seen each other over the summer, so lots of time to catch up. So yeah, but still not 100% decided on that. Okay, so now the reason I have stuff all over my desk, here's what happened with and this is why, if this was actually show and tell that I was showing you on a Friday, that's why we're going to do something different for Friday. This is kind of why this would be one of those show and tells that would have to be a video, because there's all sorts of things that happen. So I started out, Mission Monday was supposed to be using the greens because we had a whole bunch of rain. This is why I pulled Mission Monday out of my, what. And a lot of times then all week long, I'm like, oh, I have to go back and like make myself do something with that. I do lots of other things, but sometimes what I think is a great idea on Monday does not translate for the week. Oh, I forgot to show you. Sorry, I'll have to show you that one at the end because I forgot to show you. But it had rained so much and everything was green, and I was all excited about the garden. So I said, make things with greens. So this was the first card I made. And it was based on a card I saw. A good place to follow is Stampin' Up, because Stampin' Up, every year they pick, I want to say a dozen artisans from around the world, and they make some amazing cards. They are usually like lots of layers, lots of over the top, but you can find ways to like take the elements you want or scale them down or make the big over the top cards if you want. This one, I should have looked it up beforehand. I'm pretty sure her name is Stacy March. These artisans are from around the whole world, so I don't actually remember where she's from. Stacy March, so I'm pretty sure is her name. I think my card looks pretty close to hers. I can't exactly remember. I saw her card and went, oh my God, that's amazing. She just put a bunch of different greens. This happy birthday stamp, you'll notice, just a minute here. Not. Is it down here? Oh, there it is. You'll notice it on a lot of my cards today. This is from the new online exclusive. So this is called Not 29 anymore. Look at this awesome stamp set. And so far, all I've used is this happy birthday because I stamped it once and I like it so much that I used it over and over and over again. So you'll see it a lot. But anyways, and it's just perfect. Like I just stamped it on the card. So this was my first card. So then my next card is we have this new embossing folder that also came out in the online exclusives. And it is, here, just a minute, this is annoying me, but there we go. It's one of the 6x8 ones. So it's a huge folder and it's sunflowers. I'm just going to see if I can put something in there that will help you. Now, there's not a stamp set that goes with it, or dies, or paper, or anything. It was just the folder. Now, this is not like Stampin' Up! Usually puts together like whole suites or bundles, or So I don't know if more is coming. Like to me, sunflowers are very fallish, so maybe more is coming. I don't know. And if not, though, this folder on its own is just amazing. So it's big enough that I can do like 2 card fronts at once, which is what I did. I put a bunch of pieces in and I made a bunch of card fronts. I'm trying to see if by putting paper in it, it'll help you see it better. But look at this. It's amazing. And it's 3D. So you get like really deep embossed paper. Right? Like, look how gorgeous that is. So this one, what I thought is I'm going to make a card with this. And I'm going to watercolor paint these flowers because I don't have stamps or anything, right? So this is the first piece I made just on regular paper. And I watercolored it. And it got a little heavy. It was a little heavier than I want. I mean, I still like it, but it was a little heavier than I wanted. But it was kind of green. And I left this off just so I could show you because there's a few things worth noting. When you're going to watercolor on just regular cardstock, make sure one color is dry before you put the other one on, because you'll see, if you see around the edges, you can see that I wasn't patient enough. And so there's a little bit of bleeding, but it still worked out kind of well. And when you see it close up, it's cool because you can see all this like very defined embossing on it. Now this is, and I'm sorry to tease you with it because it's not available anymore, but although when it went retired, I was like, make sure you get this. These are the wanted to say dies. And there's like a bunch of dies and then there's little bits. So this is retired, but I ain't never given it up. So it has these pieces that can go on the back. So a nice big sentiment. And there are other current products that have like words in them. I don't happen to have them. I'm trying to remember what words are on, but I can't remember. I just don't happen to have those bundles, so I couldn't use those ones. But this is a great way to, especially when you get something big like this, and it's such bold colors and defined. But I'm just going to pop this here, and I'm going to do it for 2 reasons. I need a big sentiment, and I'm putting it right on this side because that's where I'm covering most of my mistakes. So now you're going to see the sentiment, and you're not going to notice this as much. But isn't this pretty? Like, this is the embossing folder and a sentiment. Now, after I did this, I tried a bunch of other techniques, which I will get to in a minute. But because I have all this stuff on my desk, I'm going to show you. I waited to do the second part last because I wanted to show you my setup and give you my little pointers. So watercolor obviously works better on, you guessed it, watercolor paper. So I did, here's one of my tips for you. I did take a piece of watercolor paper and I embossed it. And it's the same, like watercolor paper is pretty thick, but it embosses beautifully. And so you'll see that I use the exact same colors. I use the exact same technique. I am not a great painter. This is just, so it's me doing it the second time. But it works so much better on watercolor paper. And I did wait. I did do this, and then I did the leaves over here so that I wasn't like running into the other one. The one thing that's good though is I did the flower in Daffodil Delight, which is what I did the other one in. But then I let it dry. I went over and I did the leaves, and then I did the center part. And then I went back over just in the middle with Darling Duckling, which is it's a little bit darker. I want to say dirtier because it's not as like crisp a yellow. There's a little more brown in it or something. I don't really know the right way to describe it. But so now you can see, because I let it dry, I can go over top of it. Watercolor paper, you can do a lot more. You can do more layers and stuff. On regular cardstock, there's a limit to how much water you can put on it before it starts to pill and pucker and stuff. But even with this big flower, it started to like bow. So I could push it down or I could push it up, but I didn't want to. So that's one of the big things that I do all the time with various different things It's the same with like heat embossing or whatever. Is if I have a piece, I'll just take one of my clean blocks, make sure it's clean, and you want this to be fairly dry when you do it, and just set it on top. Or put a couple of them on top. I have one big block. I have this block if necessary, which is one of, they don't sell them anymore, but it's one of the ones from when we had the background stamps where you could get it, or maybe they do. But anyways, it'll cover like an entire huge piece. But just put, these blocks are heavy. So if you just put a little bit of weight on it, I only let this sit for like maybe 10 minutes and it is now, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but it's now flat again. It doesn't have the big pucker in the middle. So I will, what I'm going to do, and it's a good idea with watercolor, or if you're doing any kind of special ink technique, is start with a piece that's bigger than the piece you want. So then, like when I'm done, here we go. This is the size of a card front, right? Or well, one of the sides. This is the biggest card layer that people use. So then I could go, well, this is, and then I could cut the piece out of like where I want if I make it bigger. If I make it exactly this size, I'm limited to exactly this size, right? So that was my watercolor one, which when I post these things, tomorrow I'll post pictures of all of them. Then I'll have I will have a finished card, plus I'll probably have like other pieces that I've used for something else, because you'll see there's lots of things you can do with them. Let me move some stuff out of the way. So let me show you some of the other. So this is, anyways, this is why the Mission Monday thing didn't really happen, because I made the first card, right? And then I was having so much fun with this folder that instead of focusing on green, I started to focus on sunflowers. So then this, then I started to play with the sunflowers. Okay, so, oh, here's one of the other things I was going to tell you too. So then one of the things I wanted to try was I wanted to take the folder and put ink on it. Right? So put some ink on it, and then you put your layer of cardstock in between, and then you run it through, and you will get, the ink will transfer to the picture, right? So I wanted to get like a sepia looking one. So I put it on the side that says Stampin' Up on it, like that has the logo on your embossing folder, is usually the side that goes up. It's the embossed side. You could also, sometimes it works to have the debossed side, right? It gives you a different look. That's why this isn't glued down yet, so I could show you both sides. Some folders, either side works. Some folders, only one side works, but sometimes they're very different looking. So sometimes when you do this with an embossing folder, all you get is just the lines. Well, this one I kept getting, no matter what I did, I kept getting like this part here, which in the end was okay. So I did that, and my plan with this one is just going to be to mount it like this. So I put on a bit of espresso, I put on a bit of pecan pie. This is pecan pie. And then this is another one from that same set. I'm just going to put a thing over top of it, right? I like this. I did try a bunch of different backgrounds, right? With this, because the sepia that I wasn't, at first I was like, I don't know if I want a pecan pie background. So I did try it. I tried it with crumb cake, which I kind of like, and I couldn't, this is the one I like the best for contrast, but I wasn't sure if, because this part was so dark, if it was going to work or not. I did try the basic beige. It didn't work for me. In the end, I went back to the pecan pie, which I will glue that all together before we're done. The one I did try, though, I had a second piece. So this one I did first, and I thought, well, this is a bit too dark. So then I ran it through again with just a little bit lighter, and I got this one. I'm not sure why I keep, there's a real lag time and I can't seem to get my pictures going where I want them to. So this one, I decided to put on a white background, and I quite like it. Which is, and then I changed this to being the darker background. And there's some little gold behind there, which I don't know if you can see. Oh, you can see a little bit of the gold behind it, just to like zhuzh it up a little bit. So anyways, that was my experiments with sepia. I will tell you that so after I did it the first time, it was a little stronger in some places and lighter in others. So I took my blending brush and I thought, I'm going to mix it because it's still dark. I thought I could do this one more time. So the first time I did it, I had my two pieces. This is a layer in an envelope, so ignore the fact, but pretend. I put it in like this, right? I inked it up, I put them in, I closed it up. So then when I did it the second time, and I like to tell you about my mistakes so that you don't make the same ones and waste paper. Not that I wasted paper because I'm still using it, but so after I did that, I thought, oh, I'll just like brush out because I could see there was a bit of a line, right? So I thought I'll just brush it out a little bit, kind of smooth around the leftover ink. I bet you I could get one more try out of it. So this is the side that I did the blending brush on, right? So I did that, but it wasn't until I put my paper in and I closed it that I realized I only did blending brush on one side. Because normally you would only put it on one side. I put it on both because after I tried the first one, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe I want to put it on the other side because I couldn't get just the raised part. So this is the one, this is like tips number 3 with the same ink with a blending brush. But this is the side I forgot to put the blending brush on. And because I had done 2 pieces of paper, you can see exactly where the gap between those 2 pieces of paper was. So this one is not as usable. Now, the answer to that, oops, just a minute, is to take, and this is not the right color, but it's the one I can grab, is to make sure that when you put your, see, I told you I love this one, I got extras of it. You know, put your sentiment across like this, right? That's how you fix that. You put something, or put a piece of ribbon or something, right? But you can also cut this into smaller pieces. So I will make something else with this, but I wanted to show you that. So, you know, if you're going to do that, make sure you brush in between. Or if I had put them 2 again, it would have been fine. But because I had 2 going this way and then I put 1 across here, I got that big line down the middle. The other thing I noticed, what did I do with it now? There we go. So I said this doesn't come with a stamp set. And I will show you this in yellow. But right now, this is the piece of paper that I put on the inside of the dark ones, and this is on the envelope. I like to stamp my sunflowers. You can't see it very well here. I'll show you on one of these cards. So this is what I was putting. So I had a stamp for the inside and for the envelopes because I think this looks enough like a sunflower, and I was able to, it's 2 different stamps. So I was able to stamp my pecan in the middle and daffodil for my sunflower. So I think it works perfect. There is leaves in this one, but the leaves are really big and I didn't want to mess with the leaves. So I just put the little sunflowers. So that, though, comes from this stamp set, which I love and have used a bunch of. This is You Are Remarkable. So the leaves on it are like big and they're not exactly the ones I wanted. So I just used these 2 stamps, which are the filler stamps for the 2-step stamping for inside the line drawing. You could just stamp like this, like just mask it and only stamp the top part too. But You Are Remarkable, this is a current stamp set. But that's where I got my sunflowers from. You just have to look and see what looks like what. Okay, just a minute, I'm gonna move. Okay, I'm starting to get too many things. So one of the other things I did is I took that same folder and I did it with yellow. And I brushed it over with the blending brush with the daffodil. And then I ran it through and it was way too wet. So I took my blending brush and I brushed it a bit more and I ran it through, and then it made the paint almost yellow. So I had a big square of yellow and I just took one. I'll show you blending brush stuff in a minute. But so then I just took my blending brush and I hit in a few places over top of the yellow where it should have been green. This is garden green or pecan. And it was a bit messy. The folder was not great. So here's another answer. If you do a big piece and you only like some parts of it or some parts are better than others, just cut it into littler pieces. So I cut that one square. This was actually the first one I made, was this one. And then, so this is actually the bottom piece. So this is how the folder went. And I cut it into 3 pieces. I turned this one sideways. Underneath this happy birthday, it's, nope, this isn't the one. It's under this one. This one, my mistake is here, right? But I couldn't put a label where it didn't screw things up by putting it to cover this. But you don't really notice it because this is pretty cool looking. I like this piece. And I just put some embossed paper behind it. This one I screwed up and there's a big gob of brown right on this end of the flower. So I just put the sentiment over top of it. So even if you make a whole big one and you do whatever technique you want, just cut the pieces you want and use the pieces you want. This is a lot, right? Like this is like boom, bold, in your face, sunflowers, which is good. But if you're looking for something a little less, then just take chunks of it, right? So like I said, this was, I put yellow on the whole, I only put it on the one side, but I put it on the whole side of the embossing folder. And then I just kind of touched up some stuff over top of it. The same thing, it was very wet. After I did the first try, oops, I dropped it on the floor. Oh, just a minute. I had 3 separate words. And I can only, oh, there we go. Yes. If you could see me now, I got my butt in the air, trying not to fall off my chair on wheels, picking up the pieces I dropped on the floor. Okay. So again, it was kind of wet. So I thought, well, let me put another piece of paper through. So I put another piece of paper through and I got a much subtler yellow. I'll zoom in on this one. I'll make it easier than me trying to hold it up all the time. So I got a much more subtle, let's see now, nobody needs to see my belly. There we go. I got a much more subtle color of yellow. And I did the same thing. I went over the leaves with the garden green blending brush really lightly. And then because I did the center with the pecan pie, that zoomed in a little too much, isn't it? And it was a little stark for me. So then I just took the same brush with pecan pie and I kind of brushed over the whole thing. So the green is more noticeable, but everywhere else that wasn't green, I kind of brushed over with the pecan pie. And I got this very soft, I love how this turned out. Now I did use Daffodil Delight, but when I put this layer on Daffodil Delight, the Daffodil Delight was too bright for it. So this is actually Lemon Lolly, which is just a much lighter yellow, as you can see. Right? So don't be afraid to try. I know that color coordination is a big thing, and they do a genius job of it at Stampin' Up, but use what works for you. And then from that same set, it doesn't have to be the big with the background label and stuff, but this one, I'm just going to use this as a thank you card and stick the words, "You're too kind." Right? So that's that one. I'll finish them all and take pictures later. Okay. So that was my playing with ink on the embossing folder stage. And I showed you the watercolor stage. So then the next thing I did, I'm trying to find what I did with my piece of paper. There it is. The next one, when I did this, I just embossed like 8 layers or something. I think I ended up making more afterwards, but I just took this. I have a little box of card fronts. And so this is the biggest card front. And I usually start with this because I can always trim it if I want to, but it works for inside the card. That's the size I use for inside the card. And then it's the one that fits on the card with just like the small layer. The size I use more often is actually this size, right? Where I cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5 and use it this way. So, but I started out this size to begin with. And like I said, it's not a big deal. You just trim it. That way you can trim it the way you want. So these next few layers that cards I'm going to show you, we're done with just the blending brushes. So this one, I took the blending brush. And I have to get one so I can show you my little trick that I learned. So I took the blending brush, and you always want to have a piece of paper off to the side. So you get your ink on it. You tap, 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 or like give it a little rub on the scratch paper, or your glass mat will work, or your silicone mat will work, just enough that you're not getting a big hard line, right? And then I just kind of went over top. It's very 3D, so it's hard to get to some of the places. But at the same time, I wasn't really too concerned. I love, 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 love how this turned out. There's pieces missing. There's colors over top of other ones, but it's not super noticeable, I don't think. But that's all I did. I did yellow here. And this is all before I mounted this, obviously. I did yellow here. I did the brown in the middle. I did the leaves. And I was able to hit most of it. Like I said, you can see some. I don't even know how I got green on this one, but I got green on the yellow here. And there's some over there. And I got a little bit of blue on the edge of this one. But I don't think it's super noticeable. What's most noticeable to me is here, where I inked up my blending brush. And then I went to kind of swipe across here to try to hit just the leaves. But I forgot to tap, tap, tap. Let's see if we can get this thing to focus. Come on. Oh, see, it's not as obvious on the camera. In person, you can see lines, like very obvious swipe lines. So, as I said before, the solution is just to put your sentiment where the problem is. So, and this is the hard part. Like, I like this card just like this, with nothing on it, because it was hard to decide, where do I cover? But then I realized there's a lot of sunflower here. Even if I cover up part of it, there's still a lot of sunflower left, so it's fine. I'm covering up most of the pecan pie part anyways. And here's another one with the color. When I looked at this one, I used the exact same colors: Daffodil Delight, Garden Green, Pecan Pie. but this one looked so much brighter to me than some of the other ones. And it was just the amount of ink, I don't know what. So this sentiment that I used and the layer that I put underneath is actually Granny Apple Green. But it matches. It looks like it's the right color. It looks like the same color green, and it just gives it a little bit brighter than the garden green, which is a bit darker, right? So then there was that one. The other thing I did, because I cut this down, here, pop that off, because I cut this piece down, I had little strips left after I colored them. So I put this is the strip that came off the short end, and this is the strip that came off the long end. And I just stuck them, and they're like solidly glued the entire way with tear and tape. Now, chances are I'm handing this card to somebody, but even if I mail this to somebody for their birthday, I will take the card like this and I will stick it in a clear envelope so that they can use the card in the envelope again if they want. It's sort of a card and a gift in one. So it doesn't matter to me that this is glued to the front of the envelope. I think if you were going to just mail it, I don't know that I would put something, because this is 3D, this is not flat. I don't know that I would put that in an envelope if I wanted it to go through the machine, but the way I mail them, it's totally fine. Or if you're handing it to somebody, but that's just another way. If you have if you're using something that doesn't have a matching stamp set or like a little image, sometimes the ones that are all sentiments, there's no image to go with them if you're using DSP and like a sentiment set. But you can always use a strip of DSP or a strip of your embossed layer or something and just pop it in the card. So then we had that one. So that was embossing. So then again, I like to try things. I went, so that was more, I'll hold them together so you can see. That was more bright and bold. So the reason I didn't put the sentiments on is I wanted to be able to show you like the whole things underneath them. Just a minute, I can pick that up. So then I did the blending brush again, but I was like super light with it. I was like, and I didn't do the blue background, right? So this one is a much more subtle and probably my favorite of the cards. I know you're not supposed to have favorites, but I just love how this turned out. And it's not showing up as nicely. When you're looking at it on the camera, it looks like there's yellow and a whole lot of white. But in person, let's see if I can get it to focus. That part that looks white on the camera is actually just a paler yellow. I don't know why it's showing up kind of white, and I didn't do the blue background on this one. I just stuck to the 3 primary colors without the blue sky behind it. But you see, it's just a little bit more subtle. Love how that turned out. And I don't think I was covering any mistakes with this one. Believe it or not, I think I managed to do this without, some of the techniques are just trial and error. And even though I know the right way to do it, sometimes I get busy, I'm watching, I'm talking, I'm just whatever. Everybody makes mistakes. That's how you know it's handmade, so it's perfect. But there's little ways to sort of minimize it. And then this was another one that it was like, oh, it was so hard to cover, but I'm using this as a birthday card. And so this one I mounted up. This is for somebody who loves green. So it's got a green card base and a green here. And in the end, really, because these are on dimensionals, if you wanted to, you could very easily take that sentiment off and just have the flowers if you wanted it without. And when I'm done, I might actually just give it to her like this, and I might just stick the happy birthday in the middle, or I might just stamp in that. Like, I don't know, I haven't decided yet, but I absolutely loved it. But anyways, that was blending brushes. Another one with blending brushes. So then the last technique, oh no, I got 2 more. Sorry, I thought we were on the last one. Yeah, the last one's a 2-part, so I'll do this one. So this one is using the blends. I love to color with blends. Oh, I love the blends. They're my favorite for coloring. Love blends. I'm a little zoomed in too much. So this one, though, we don't have a garden green blends. Like there's 54 colors, I want to say. It's possible there's 56. I want to say 54 different colors. And I think there's 4 colors that there's not blends for. I have no idea why. And they're not even new colors. They're older colors. So garden green, gorgeous grape, crushed curry, and I think there's not. Anyways, we don't have blends for them. So this one I did switch up the color, the green a little bit, because there isn't a garden green one. So this one is Old Olive. But this, I like this look. I like this. And I was trying to, I do try to get very accurate. In my mind, I was like, the leaves on a sunflower plant that I've seen, they seem like bright yellow, bright green. So that's the colors I picked. I do like this little bit darker look to it. And now I did have a couple like I colored these is very deeply embossed. So normally when I use my blends, I'll draw like on the lines and I'll go along the edge and then I'll blend over top. But because of how deeply embossed it was, the color went into those lines and then I just couldn't blend it back out again. So some of them you'll notice I got a bit more subtle with, like this one up here turned out perfectly. But this one you can definitely see the lines and the edge. So that's where I started and it was a little darker, but it is what it is. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, if you don't have like the dies that have words on them, and again, I, for the life of me, cannot remember off the top of my, I know it's flowers and I think it says lovely and something else or what the words say, but because that's an easy way to put something over top. You can just put a label. You saw that I did just put the, like the one card, I just had the, like the happy birthday like this. So you can do that. That's easy enough. But we have these ephemera packs as well. And they have different things in them. So this one is all full of like a bunch of different words and labels. And you could take any one in here. So the one I took out of here, and then in the end, I never used it because I decided to go with the thank you instead. But I took this word hello, put it over here so you can see it, which was in here and was originally white. And I just colored over top of it with my old olive blends to make it green. And that's originally what was going to go on there. But then I decided that this was going to be fussy to glue down. So I could have glued it down, but I decided I wanted something popped up. So that's why I didn't do it. But you could, like, if you wanted this card to say beautiful, because this is a light pink, it looks white there, but it's a light pink. This would be like petal pink or bubble bath. Just take it, like obviously that's not the color you want here. Just take it and carefully, so you don't bend it all up, color over top of it with blends, right? Anything light you can certainly color over top of. This one, the Howdy, is Cajun Craze, I'm going to guess. Not exactly the color I want, but I could have changed the matting and made it work. This one will be a little harder. If you wanted to make this black or darker brown or something, you could. If you wanted to make this a pale color, you're not going to be able to. But anyways, you just color over top of them. So that was the Say Something ephemera pack. And then this thank you actually came out of this one, which is the Spring Celebrations, which has a bunch of different little like things that you could just put. They could be white. They don't have to be different colors. But I thought that this wood looking thank you worked perfectly on there. Right? So we had that one. Ooh, what can I talk? Okay. So yeah, that was how it looks colored with the blends. Now, I'm gonna try to grab all three of these. Depending how you do stuff and depending what it is you want, you get some very different looks out of these. Yeah, I'll do it this way just so it's easier to see. Right? Like you get very different looks. Blending brush is a little softer. This is, you can blend a bit more. This is a bit more like, right? There's no right or wrong to these methods. It's just which one do you want. Now, the last one I'm going to show you, and it's got a couple good techniques in it. So this is kind of a spotlight card because I took an embossing folder or an embossed layer, and I put it down. And I had a second one because I wanted to just highlight the flower. So at first the flowers are easy to cut out, right? You just go along the edge. Now, the way the embossing folder is laid out, there's not a lot of whole flowers and whole leaves, which is why I thought it would be easier to do. So this one is the whole flower. This one, it gets a little bit cut off. This one is like a kind of a side angle of the flower. It's there. This one is a kind of a different angle. But these are the only ones really that are whole flowers. The rest of them are all like missing chunks. There's no one leaf in here that you can just cut that isn't, right? So I decided to cut the big flower. So I put my piece of paper in purposely so that I could get it like this. I ran a second one through so it was exactly the same layout. And I did color, like lightly color the flower that's underneath, just so if you look at it from the side, you kind of, because it does pop up on here. This one was curled up quite a bit. I added 2 extra dimensionals afterwards because it was curled up a lot. But because it's watercolor on just white paper and it curled, it gave me like that nice separation that I wanted. Anyway, so after I put just the flower on, I did decide to just color a couple of the leaves that were right on the layer, just so that I could have the green. So it kind of highlights this and leaves the rest alone, right? This is in fact not covering a mistake, believe it or not. So how did I get this one, you ask? This one, I've got my pencil crayons over. I did with the watercolor crayons that Stampin' Up sells. Now they don't sell them in this container. I got this container off Amazon, but these are the watercolor pencil crayons and a blender pen. So because I had already cut this out anyways, I had cut one of the flowers. I cut one of the flowers out before I made half the other cards. I was just in my head, I was like, what works here and what works there? So when I cut this out, I kept all the little pieces from around it, because these little pieces from around it, oh, I just remembered why I left all this stuff on my desk that's been in my way the whole time. So this one was me brushing. This one was me coloring with the blends. I kept all these little bits and pieces so that if I wanted to test something to see how dark it was going to be, or like, just, is that the right color? Do I need more water in my watercolor mix? Whatever. I had all these little scraps instead of putting it on, because most of the ones I cut were exactly the size I wanted them to be, right? So sometimes you end up with big chunks left. So keep these, because these are good ways to test your technique before you test it on the big piece of paper. So this is where it's kind of a little funny. So this is how this works, right? If you want to do this, and I love this technique, and it's definitely a softer look, is you take your pencil, and you do not have to even be very like accurate. So I just went like this, right? And I'm just going in lines in the direction of the leaf. I'm not pressing very hard. If you wanted to, you could press, actually this one, I'll press harder in the middle. Yeah, you can just see that, just to show you what happens. You don't have to though, right? So I just went up and down in lines. Press hard on that one, lines. Right, and then you take your blending brush, or yeah, blender pen, sorry, not blending brush, blender pen, which has some kind of alcohol based something or another, glycerin, I don't know what's in it, something, it's wet kind of thing, and then you just run over top, and it sort of blends it and makes it kind of watercolor looking, and it blends all your lines in and it colors it in a bit. You see it more on the darker one. So, and then if you can also do this, like you can scribble with your, I can scribble with my oh, it's not a very clean piece of paper. I can scribble on here with my watercolor marker, and I can use like my blending brush to pick it up and give me a little extra color. I can do the same thing with a blender brush and ink. I can dip it in like some ink, or just on the side of my ink pad or the top of my lid of my ink, and use it. And the blender pen just kind of spreads stuff around. Now, for the purpose of showing you, I'm just going to color over here a lot. Now, this is the problem with, it's not the problem with, but this is the thing with just using cardstock and anything wet, is the more I color, I don't know if you can see that, it's starting to pill, right? And make a mess because this is not designed to have a whole bunch of water put on it. If I wanted to go over and over and do different techniques, and I got a whole bunch of it on my pen, then I'm better off to use the watercolor paper, which, oh, here we go, which is right here, right? This one is meant to have water on it, and you can put a whole lot more on before it starts to pill. This one you have to be careful with, because you'll end up getting, if you put too much. You can do a fair bit, but if you start to get too much, it's going to start to pill. But I've got to show you this side by side. I'm just going to color in here. So this is dark and this is light. And seriously, I mean, I'm staying within the lines because I'm 58 years old. I learned how to stay within the lines. But beyond that, that's it. So I don't know if we can get it so you can see it. So this is more just blended, and that's what this one looks like, right? And you can blend it more if you want. I wanted it to look like this. So this is blended more, and it has kind of a watercolor look to it. I can't make it focus. I keep forgetting that we figured out Zoom. We'll see if Zoom helps. See, the problem with Zoom is I don't know where to put it. Because of the time lag, I'm putting it in the wrong spot. So yeah, it's not showing up very well on there. Maybe the other one will. So anyways, this is how you do it, right? You color it and then you blend over top of it. So I wanted to show you guys how quick and easy it was. When I first did this, I didn't have this little corner, but so I wanted to show you how quick and easy it was. So I took an entire card front and I colored over top of it with pencil. Oops, zoomed in too much now. With my watercolor pencils. And I decided not to do the blue background. So this part here is very bumpy. It's very well embossed, but I managed to like use the side of my pencil crayon and I kind of went over top of it. And then for the leaves and the flowers, I just drew the lines. So I got this whole thing ready so I could take my blender pen when I did my live and show you, whoa, look at this. The thing is, I absolutely love the way this looks. I'm trying to get rid of the background here. I'll turn it sideways so it will focus. I love the way this looks, just roughly colored like this. Come on. See, and you can't see the lines. Why is this? There we go. This is the problem with this silly zoom. So I'm zoomed in, but you can't see the lines. Anyways, looking at it in person, you can tell it'll show up better in the picture. So I did this with the intent that I was going to show you. Look at how fast you can do it. But the thing is, I absolutely love it without even doing anything to it. So I'm actually going to leave this one just the way it is. I'm just going to put a sentiment on it. I'm not even sure. So when I do stuff, I tend to make a whole bunch and then I like, oh, maybe do I like this one? Do I like that one? So one of these sentiments, and perhaps this bow that I tied and then never used, will be on this card when I'm done, or it'll be on future cards because I have tons of them now. But yeah, you'll be able to see in the picture. I love the way it looked with like just coloring it like that. So hey, maybe I was supposed to do it a certain way, but I'm choosing to do it a different way. What did I do with my pencil crayons? I'm gonna put those back, but I don't know where I did them. So anyhow, and I'm just gonna, I haven't decided what layer I'm gonna put on it. So these will be finished. The other ones I'll add the sentiments to. But this is one embossing folder. It's not a big bundle. It's not a fancy anything. It is like one embossing folder. And I had hours of fun playing and making all those cards. Now, the other thing, because I laid this all out purposely, did this last so I could show you this. Maybe I should remember to actually tell you this. So here's some tips I learned going along. I got the glass mat, which when it first came out, I was like, no, I think it's going to be in my way and bug me, and I don't think I'm going to like it. Holy cow, do I like this glass mat. I finally got it because at some point I was able to get it for free. Can't remember how. Or really cheap, like 50%. I don't know. Anyway, so I thought, you know what? I have lots of other stuff. I should try it. Absolutely love it. It's on my table all the time. Oh, I just love it. One of the things it came with this cloth, which is dry right now, so it's fairly stiff. Which you get wet, it's just like the chamois, so you can use it to like clean it off, wipe up ink, the whole bit. So if I'm sometimes I color right on it. You have this nice big cloth that you can use to clean it. But yeah, just like the chamois, you don't want to like ball it up and put it in something where it doesn't have like where it can't dry, because if you do, then you can end up having mold. So it also comes with this little rubber mat, which is currently, it's not stuck to the desk like but because it's like anti-slip, right? So I don't know exactly what all like this works great if you're trying to clean your brush off because it's rough, right? So you can use it. I take a piece of paper towel and I stick it in there so that when I'm painting, I can like dab off if I get too much water or something. I have the old water painters. I have actually, these are the newer ones that are discontinued. I have some of the old ones too. I love the Stampin' Up! Water painters. I love them. But because they don't sell them anymore, I also did this when I was doing this. I did this with just a paintbrush just to show you that you can do it. So all I did, I'm using this as my like messy thing, my toothpick for stirring. Sometimes I do that because it's kind of gets my brush really, really wet and inky. So here's some things. I bought these at the dollar store. And there was either 2 or 3 actually, I think, in here. And they just have this little closing top part. But I have this full of water. So I find it easier than, instead of draining my water painter to do it, just one of these cheapy little bottles from the dollar store full of water. You put like 1 drop, 2 drops, depending what you're doing and how much ink you need or whatever, into the thing, put a little water on it, and you can use a paintbrush. And you just paint like you're going. But this is using the refills. If I order a color ink pad, at the same time, I always order the refills. I don't have to re-ink my ink pads very often, and I use them a lot, but they last a long time. But doing extra little techniques and stuff, I always have the re-inkers. So here's one of the other tips, though. I have this. Oh, I was going to say I have these cards, but it's not actually the boxes in the way. It's my head in the way. So just let me move this. Here we go. There we go. So you can see all 4 colors. So these little holes are currently full of ink, but they're also designed to perfectly fit a Stampin' spot. So if you were doing stuff with Stampin' spots, you could stick them in there so they're not like sliding all over your glass tabletop. What I do is I have the 4 different colors I'm using, which so far I've only got 3 on here. Oh no, this is the 4 because I decided to, when I did it the first time, this was blue, but this is the darker Darling Duckling. So here's the tip though. These are my 4 ring inkers, right? Because when I'm looking at this right now, if I forget what I'm doing, these 2, like they just look like black. This one a little more because I've got some out of it. So this is Pecan Pie, and I know that because my 4 little refill bottles are in the exact same order as my 4 little holes. Don't put them off to the side. Don't put them little soldiers all lined up. I know that this one is Darling Duckling. This one is Daffodil. This one is Pecan. And this one is Garden Green because my 4 little bottles are in the exact same order as my 4 little holes there. So that helps because it is very easy to forget. This little part, so this one, and see right now this is dried out a little bit. So if I can use the re-inker. The re-inkers have ink in them, right? Or water in them. So I can use my watercolor painter and just kind of zhuzh this up again. But sometimes if I'm not really sure, like I might want to take some of that off there. Because when you stir it, you get like lots of water and ink and you get it all the like way up the whole brush. I like to like have a little more control and just keep it on the tip at first. So because I have this huge piece, which I may or may not use all of, one never knows. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do just on the edge though. Right. And this one, I have a bit too much water in. So I do keep a Kleenex handy. Now Kleenex is like a crafter's enemy really, because it's kind of filmy and sometimes it can stick, but I do find Kleenex works the best for this. And so sometimes you can go, if it's too wet, and just dab over top. The thing you have to be careful with is if you're using the same Kleenex over and over, make sure where the ink already is. Because if I do this over top of the yellow now to dab, I'm going to transfer this brown ink. So keep folding your Kleenex or use a different one or use the corner of a piece of paper, whatever. But you can go over top and kind of pick it back up again. So now I know that was a little bit wet. So I got to make sure my brush is a little drier. So yes, I'm going to go with a little bit drier brush. Go back over the part that I did. Yes, that's what I want, right? So I did it on the edge so that if I ended up messing it up. So now that I can do this, I can go back to the center and I can just go to town. Now you'll notice that there's not very much in that square that has the brown in it. The other thing I would recommend is once you start, like if you're starting a chunk, finish it. That's why I'm going to finish this whole center while I talk. It can dry differently and it can look different. Like you can get lines in it and stuff. So you are kind of better off to, and you can see I'm going really fast and I don't really have a whole lot of skill, but it works. There we go. I did go a little bit over on the one side, but it's not going to be super noticeable. So to clean your painters, you can do it over top of your piece of paper towel and you just kind of squeeze some of the water out and then brush it on a paper towel. Because now I can take this exact same painter and go to the next color. And like I said, it works the same. Is there another centerpiece? The reason that there's less brown in there is because there's only a few pieces where it actually needs to be brown. So I just put one little drop, added some water to it, went to town. So now I just added more water to this because I'm starting to run out. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit more and hope for the best. It could be a slightly different. In this case, it's not going to matter that much because it's not that different of a color. I'm just going to test that. Yes. So then this is it. So this is just a regular old paintbrush instead of the aqua painter. And here is the other little piece that's brown. So this is re-inker, like a drop of re-inker and some water and a brush on watercolor paper. So if you're once you've I think this would be my advice, not that you asked, but I'm telling you anyways. If you're just starting out, it's good to play on watercolor paper first because it's a lot more forgiving and you'll get a better feel for it. And the watercolor paper is fairly well priced. Like it's not super expensive. So I think it's worth it to play a little. And then if you want, like lots of times I don't drag the watercolor paper out. I just do it on my cardstock. But once you get a little more practice and you understand how much water you can get away with on cardstock, then I would say that's not a bad idea. But at first, definitely easier to play on the watercolor paper. The other thing before I forget, I'll tell you, I have one more thing I want to tell you about the little tip for you, but watercolor paper is not quite white. So if you're going to mount it on something, even if you're going to put a layer, which I likely will, it is closer to very vanilla than it is to white. It's kind of in between, but it doesn't go with the white. Now you could put a layer in between on the white and probably get away with it. If you're not going to use a layer, I would definitely say put it on the very vanilla. The colors aren't showing true on my camera, but trust me, it works a little bit better with the very vanilla, or definitely put a layer between it if you're doing it that way. Okay, so last little tip I wanted to give you, because I realized I went over time, but you guys, I went down the sunflower rabbit hole, and did I have fun. Is this, because I'm going to do this all at once, right? I'm going to finish this when I'm off camera. This is a flower, this is a flower, this is a flower. The top part of this is flower. This will be green, some of it, but there is a ton of yellow on here. So when you start, make more than you think. Like if it's like for brown, I didn't need very much. So I made a little bit of brown. The green, I made a little bit more. This darling duckling is just a small little bit, just one drop in a bit of water, because all I wanted to do was go over and I'm not really sure, because it was like more embossed here. It kind of got smushed a little bit, but there's a couple little darker spots on here. Like they're kind of look a little dirty, but I don't think it's going to matter in the end result. But you can see I did the darling duckling, right? I just wanted to do lines. So I did this whole thing in daffodil. I let it dry a little bit, and then I put this over top. So it would kind of blend a bit, but not all the way. So I knew I wasn't going to need very much, but I knew I was going to need yellow. Now I have done before where, I just daffodil, let's try this one. And I did a little bit and I painted, and then I very quickly ran out. And then trying to get the exact same mix again, if you're particular about your flowers being the exact same color. So if you're going to do a big thing, make sure you start, because this was even more when I started, but I painted the biggest flower out of here already. Make sure you put more than you think you're going to need if you really want it to be the same color, because otherwise halfway through, you're going to have to do colors again and try to match. So there you go. That was my show and tell for today. I didn't get to the kits, but I will do the kits and show them to you. I'll just pop the videos up. I'm going to have lots of pictures of scrapbooking pages, which is what I'm doing for the next 3 days. But I will put one of each of the kits together. I can show you really quickly. The 2 new kits, these are the ones I ordered at the beginning of the month that just came in. This is the birthday fancy kit, which is just a whole bunch of cool birthday cards with lots of die cuts. I can't see anything that way. But these are going to make, so I'll probably just make one of these just to give you an idea, and I'll show you some of the pieces, because I think every one of them is different with the die cuts. But that's a birthday kit. It's going to be a lot of fun. And the other one is called Sweet and Spooky, and it makes a bunch of treat bags. And it's got all these different die cuts and bags and stuff. So I'll be using these to give out to people. So I'll be making a bunch of these. So I'll make one of each of these up just so you can see size-wise and how easy they go together. And so I'll do those up, and those will just be 2 separate videos that I post during the week. Let me know if you guys want to get in on any of the orders. I usually do like a group order at the beginning of the month, and then usually somewhere in the middle, if there's enough people that want to get together and share shipping. Let me know if you have any questions. You have any ideas on schedule or things you want to see, let me know. Like I said, Wednesdays are going to be live starting next week. And it's going to be something like this. I'm going to show you a suite or a card or a technique or something is what we're going to do on those days. And then Friday we'll do show and tell, and it'll just be, here's what I made. Oh, speaking of which, there's always something more, isn't there? These are the little, I told you I would show you guys these. These are the little speaker gifts I made for my little gardening seminar. Now, because I wasn't feeling well, I was very sore and had a splitting headache from being knocked on my butt down the stairs in the garage. I never ended up going to my gardening webinar. So anybody who ordered in this last round of orders, instead of a little thank you card, you got a little thank you treat, which has these adorable, expensive as heck, but adorable little Tic Tacs and into a little bunch of tomatoes. And when I tell you, you just got to look at things and see what you want. This is the Easter basket. These are both retired. I'm sorry to tease you, but this is the Easter basket from a retired kit. Thanks a Bunch came from that same Easter set. And this is the retired strawberry punch, although the current paper pumpkin dies have a strawberry in it, which you could use the same thing. And I just cut the bottom off so that I think you can see it on this one. I cut the, not that you can see them anyways, but for authenticity, I just kind of rounded the bottom so they look more like tomatoes than strawberries, and put the little strawberry on, and now I have a basket of tomatoes. So those were the little 3D speaker gifts that I said I would show you. So yeah, that's what show and tell is going to be. Here's what I made this week. Look what I did. And then you can add your pictures of what you did. And like I said, I like crocheting and cross stitch and cooking and painting. And so whatever you want to show in your show and tell, you show and tell. You want to show me the bounty from your garden? Let's show it. We'll just have fun things to look at on a Friday during show and tell. So that's what we're going to do instead. Because then, like I said, I'm always doing something, but sometimes I'm the one who pigeonholes myself and then I don't want to. So we're doing it a different way now. So I'm going to enjoy my scrapbooking for the next 3 days. I will get all of these completed up and pictures taken, and I will post them tomorrow. And I will have a new schedule for you on Monday. I'll have a newsletter later tonight. So many things to do. If you need anything, pop me a message. Happy to help. Take care, everyone. Thanks.